Eleanor Reed was 72 years old. She lived alone in a quiet neighborhood in Oregon, in a white cottage with green shutters and a red maple tree out front. Every morning, she made a pot of chamomile tea and sat by the window, watching the world slowly stretch and wake. Birds chirped, the sun peeked through the clouds, but inside Eleanor, something felt unfinished. After retiring from her job as a librarian, the days blurred into one another. Her husband, Charles, had passed 10 years ago. Her daughter lived in another state, busy with her own family. Eleanor's only company was her cat, Oliver, and the ticking clock on her living room wall. She spent her mornings reading old novels, her afternoons knitting sweaters no one really needed, and her evenings watching game shows in silence. One rainy Tuesday, while rummaging through the attic looking for a blanket, Eleanor stumbled upon a dusty glass jar. Taped to the outside were faded letters, "Jar of Someday." Curious, she opened it. Inside were dozens of folded pieces of paper. She pulled out one. "Take a hot air balloon ride." Another. "Sing in front of strangers." Another. "Visit the Grand Canyon." Each note was a wish, a dream, a someday she had once written in her 30s. She sat on the attic floor, reading each one. Some made her smile, others brought a tear to her eye. "I thought I had time," she whispered, but time had slipped by, quietly, invisibly. Now her knees hurt. Her eyesight wasn't what it used to be, and her energy faded faster than before. Maybe I waited too long. She almost put the jar away, but then she didn't. That night, Eleanor did something different. She picked one note from the jar and placed it on her fridge. "Sing in front of strangers." The next morning, Eleanor walked to the local community center. Her hands shook a little, but her heart beat with something she hadn't felt in years: possibility. That Thursday evening, during the open mic night at the center, Eleanor stood up with her silver hair pinned neatly and a nervous smile on her face. She gripped the microphone and said softly, "This song is for anyone who thinks it's too late." And she sang. Her voice wasn't perfect, but it was beautiful, raw, honest. When she finished, the room erupted in applause. One teenager stood up and clapped the loudest. Her name was Lily. After the event, Lily approached Eleanor and said, "You were amazing. I've always wanted to sing, but I'm too scared." Eleanor smiled and replied, "If I can do it at 72, you can do it at 17. That night, Eleanor picked another note: teach someone to bake. She invited Lily over the next weekend. They laughed, mixed, and made a mess of the kitchen baking banana bread. Over time, other people joined: retirees, teens, even middle-aged parents. Eleanor's home became a place of learning and laughter, a place of doing, not just dreaming. One by one, the notes in the jar were pulled out and lived. She didn't reach the Grand Canyon, but she watched documentaries and painted what she imagined it looked like. She didn't ride a hot air balloon, but she wrote poems about flying. She didn't check off everything, but she started. And she shared that spark with others. Years later, after Eleanor passed away peacefully in her sleep, her daughter found the jar on the kitchen table. It was almost empty, except for one last folded note. She opened it. It read, "Inspire someone before I go." Her daughter looked around the house, at the photos of Eleanor and young neighbors, at the thank you cards taped to the fridge, at the dozens of banana bread recipes tucked in drawers, and she smiled through her tears. Eleanor had done it. She had inspired many. Moral of the story: it's never too late to start living your dreams. You don't need a perfect body, perfect age, or perfect timing. You just need a little courage and one small step. Because someday is not a date on the calendar, it's a decision. Don't wait. Start today. Your dream doesn't have an expiry date, but your time does. Live now. Inspire now.